And welcome back to Hannity. So on election night, as vote totals were rolling in, showing a very good night for President-elect Trump, well, the left-wing mainstream media, they were having a meltdown. Take a look at some of the worst moments, well, I guess some of the best from an entertainment point of view of the night.
America is crying tonight. I'm not sure how much of America, but a very, very significant portion, and I mean literally crying. Yeah. And it is a moment filled with fear, filled with fear.
I think some of this cultural anger we should correctly identify as being racial animus, and that it's significant that Trump has closed so much of a gap and done so well with white voters. The extent to which Donald Trump has won, running a campaign of racism and bigotry, turning out millions of white Americans for that campaign, suggests that we are living through a kind of second redemption.
Our country is about to face some serious crises. And so, I mean, buckle up. Your country needs you.
Your son is serving as a Marine. You wouldn't trust his life under that commander-in-chief. And Kane said, I wouldn't. That's a pretty extraordinary thing to say. If you have a son in the Marine Corps and that you don't trust the commander-in-chief. The people in the military defend the Constitution.
This was a white lash. This was a white lash against a changing country. It was a white lash against a black president in part. And that's the part where the pain comes.
White lash, mainstream media, they weren't the only group lashing out last night. Whiny, sore loser, progressive took to the streets, often blocking traffic in several of America's busiest cities in order to vent their frustrations. Joining us now with reaction, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark, the host of Justice, Judge Jeanine Pirro. Sheriff, this is fairly predictable. Anytime conservatives win, Republicans win, the left goes in complete meltdown mode. The things we will hear in the next 4 years, I'm warning my audience, it shouldn't shock you. They are going to lose collectively their minds. That's my prediction. How should we deal with it?
Well, first of all, I just thoroughly enjoyed that montage you showed of the left, or you played of the left in meltdown mode. It's fun to watch. Look, this is a great day for America. I remember back in 2007 when Barack Obama won his first election, showed up in Grant Park on Chicago's South Side, and they showed a picture of Jesse Jackson with a tear rolling down his cheek. Well, that was me the other night as Donald Trump took the stage, and Fox News, I believe, was the first to announce that Donald Trump was the president-elect of the United States. And today I still have to pinch myself. I said it several times on your show, Sean, I said that Donald Trump would win, but to be in that moment now, post-election, I mean, I don't smile much, but I'm smiling from ear to ear today.
I've seen you smile, Sheriff. I've been at events with you where you're smiling. Judge, your reaction?
Well, my reaction to the media is not surprise at all. I mean, but look, what we've got are a bunch of wusses, all right, who tried to convince America that we are a racist country, that Donald Trump is all of these isms and ists, and I'm not even going to go through it because I think it's defamatory. But they are the people who are the racist and the anarchists and who support these wimps who, especially on college campuses, and these people who are protesting, they are anarchists. They don't believe in America. They want to burn flags. They want to not work. They want to get a check. They want illegals. They want open borders. You know what? It's time people recognize that we are a country that works for a living, that works hard to make sure that we can afford food and rent for our families, and that we deserve a president who believes that it's all about us, Americans, and not a global, country and a global economy. And by the way, when they hang Donald Trump in effigy and they say love Trump's hate, they're the hypocrites. They are the people who are violating the law.
Sheriff, let me give you some examples. Slate, has a piece, white one. Van Jones, this was a white lash. Cokie Roberts, there's great hostility to having a female president. People have to die, some of these anti-Trump protesters were saying. By the way, if any of these celebrities want to leave, I'll help them get out. How to impeach a president. Google shows a 500% increase. Some in California want to leave the union, for crying out loud. Some social media comments, Trump should be assassinated. And this is only the beginning of it. You saw the video of this guy that was beaten over this whole thing. And, you know, you got schools telling kids, oh, if you're so traumatized, we'll offer you counseling to deal with your grief and shock over Donald Trump's victory. I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
Well, yeah, a little of both. You know, this is nothing more than an attempt to intimidate the Trump administration and to intimidate the Trump supporters. This is a slap in the face to the voters. In our democracy, the voters decide who will lead these institutions of government, and numbers came out and enough to make Donald Trump the president-elect of the United States. It's going to take them some time, but they'll get over it. But in the meantime, you put up with them like a petulant 2-year-old. You let them, you know, dance and have their tantrum, and then at some point you take them by the arm and you look them in the eye and you go, that's enough.
Grow up. I think my favorite, though, is Miley Cyrus posting this.
I do want to say that I've been very vocal for my support for everyone besides Donald Trump. Heavily supported Bernie, heavily supported Hillary, and I still think that in her lifetime she deserves to be the first female president. And that's what makes me so sad, is that I just wish that she had that opportunity because she's fought for so long.
I want to know what she's fought for. And every time I hit the street, I say to people, what has she done other than as senator? She's got a post office named and a road named. And you know, Miley Cyrus, this is a lesson for you and all of your Hollywood elite friends, that you don't have any power, any control. We don't give a damn what you think or what you say. And you know what? Get over yourself. You sing well, keep on singing. And that's enough about politics.
Okay, I think we'll leave it there,
Queen.
Sheriff. Drama queen. Yeah, listen, I wasn't exactly happy in 08 and 2012.
Yeah, but we didn't protest.
I didn't protest. I didn't cry. Didn't act like a baby. You know, good grief. Grow up, you people. You know, if you need counseling over a presidential election, you're a mess to begin with.
Dog therapy. They're bringing in dogs to the campuses and safe spaces.
Safe house, little safe spaces, free counseling sessions.
What a bunch
of
wusses.
Therapy. Hug it out.
Hug it out. Yeah.
Coming up, President-elect Donald Trump had a busy morning in D.C. after meeting with the president at the White House. Well, Mr. Trump and the vice president-elect, Mike Pence, they met with Speaker Ryan on Capitol Hill. So how come the party and how can the party come together and fix this economy, which is a mess? We'll check in with RNC Chairman Reince Priebus straight ahead. Met with Speaker of the House Paul Ryan during their visit to Washington today. Now, the voters have spoken, and exit polls show that 69% of voters said they were dissatisfied or angry with how the federal government was working. So, what are they going to do to fix it? Here now, RNC Chairman Reince Priebus is with us. Good to see you. By the way, congratulations. This, a lot of people had doubts about a system that you had built since 2012 to get more voters to the polls. Do you feel that it was as successful as you had hoped?
Well, I feel the result was pretty good. Let me just firstly, before I talk about that, you have to start with a great candidate. And if you don't have the change candidate that's authentic and genuine in a change year, you can have all the data and turnout you want. It's not going to work. So it starts with Donald Trump, President-elect Trump, number one. But number two, you know, we've been working for 4 years. We added, I was just looking before this interview, we added 300,000 more Republicans on the voter rolls through party registration in Florida. We also predicted turnout. Try to keep it basic. The most difficult thing you can do mechanically, it's the data and the people on the ground are important, but you have to figure out what your prediction is for turnout so that you can actually try to figure out how many votes you need in the box in order to win. That's where our operation was dead on accurate. So predicting how many voters you needed. So for example, in Ohio, we thought that we would need 2.745 million voters in Ohio. We achieved 2.771 million votes in Ohio. And I can go through state after state like that, but having the margins down perfectly is where it all begins, and then the process of either adding voters to the rolls and or targeting, or both, is where the targeting and adding people in and then putting those people in the box is the process that we go through, and it's a 4-year program. So it's not just showing up 3 months before an election and saying, let's just start knocking on doors. It's a targeting program that started 4 years ago and culminated with a great candidate who really shocked the world.
What do you make of the 69% of voters say they're dissatisfied, but we'll also go back to the Republican primaries, and 64% of Republicans felt betrayed by the Republican Party. Donald Trump was the outsider, was the change agent, and now he's got to work with many of those same Republicans. Do you foresee any problems? Any conflict?
You know, I don't see a lot of problems because I've gotten to know President-elect Trump very well. I know how he interacts with people in private. I know how gracious and personable he is. Look at what happened today. I mean, you don't get to where Donald Trump is, President-elect Trump. I got to used to that. You do not get there by being a person who doesn't understand the audience, the situation he's in, and acting in a way that affects the best outcome for his agenda. That's what he's going to do. Let me just say, tangentially to that, the voters spoke, and they elected Republicans in the White House, the Senate, the House, and they did it with great fervor. And so the agenda of our party, and particularly the agenda of President-elect Trump, is going to be the agenda that we pursue, because that's what the voters wanted.
Is
so
that
we're not going to water down the agenda.
Is that going to be the Trump
agenda?
It's going
to be the Trump agenda. He has the mandate. And so I just want people to understand that this isn't a matter of watering down our promises and forgetting about the will of the American people. The American people deserve the agenda.